Beginning with the end in mind is vital to ensuring that any plan for change is implemented in an accelerated and efficient manner. At the core of good planning is this notion of going slow to go fast. Daniel Kahneman describes in Thinking Fast and Slow that we humans constantly fool ourselves by constructing flimsy accounts of the past and believing they are true. This is getting ahead of ourselves, jumping to conclusions, and those kinds of things. In research, he describes Paul Rosen, an expert in disgust, who found that and described that a single cockroach will completely wreck the appeal of a bowl of cherries, but a cherry will do nothing for a bowl of cockroaches. And likewise, a poorly crafted collaboration plan will completely wreck a worthwhile cause, but a worthwhile cause will do nothing for a bunch of poorly crafted plans. And what he goes on to describe is this notion of System 1 and System 2 level thinking, where we tend to operate in System 1. That's the back of our head. System 2 is the front, executive function. And he says that System 1 is about fast, unconscious, automatic, everyday decisions that are error prone. And when we get into these complex changes, we need to be more slow, conscious, and effortful, making complex decisions that are more reliable. And so when you look at the plan, it's a concise summary. It's a concise 4-letter framework for any project management effort, any meeting, any workshop, any program, any initiative. And it takes from PMBOK, which is the Project Management Book of Knowledge. It's an 800-page book, and it takes from other project management perspectives. All of these boils it down into a concise, simple framework. The plan, PLAN, describes a purposeful series of steps that engage the right people at the right times in order to ensure the right change occurs in an accelerated fashion with the efficient use of human energy. And the plan can be used for meetings, workshops, sessions, events, projects, initiatives, and programs. So let's begin and jump in with P. P is purpose. Develop a compelling purpose and outcomes focused on the end results. And start with the outcomes. Make a bulleted list of outcomes that are benefit-oriented. And then when any time an outcome appears to be more action-oriented, use the phrase "in order to" at the end of that outcome to get at the deeper reason why, because that is the real outcome. And ask, at the end of creating a nice list of outcomes that are compelling, ask, if all of these outcomes are achieved, if the benefits are realized, what is different for us? Make a one-sentence statement that captures that. That is the higher level abstract concept called purpose. And then it is followed by a bulleted list of outcomes, or benefits, if you will. Next, determine your list of leaders and others that need to be involved. And create a spreadsheet with columns for perspectives or hats that people bring, a matrix, if you will. And you can use RACI to get at that, RACI plus F, to allow for different roles. This comes from Agile Project Management. So RACI stands for Responsible, Accountable, Consult, Inform, and Facilitators. So you want to identify people, and those that are responsible. These are people that will be on the steering team, the change teams, leadership teams, and so forth. There will be accountable people that are accountable to specific things that they are accountable to the results, team leaders and staff. Then there's people you consult with, key informants and experts. And then there's people that you want to keep informed. They're not involved in the everyday activities, but they're like top leaders in governing bodies. And then you've got facilitators. This is the added piece that has been recently added. That is the facilitators, people that help guide the collaborative process and provide the tools and support to the teams that are implementing the change initiative or project. So people wear all kinds of hats, and this is really important, and oftentimes more than one. And so make sure that you are, as you are keeping track of people, that you think not only about functional roles and RACI, also think about perspectives that are really important to the particular project or initiative. Ethnicity, region or area or location, other types of things that might be important. Make sure that you are mindful of all the different hats and all the different perspectives that need to be involved to ensure that you can realize your purpose and outcomes. Next, you move into action. Action and agenda. That's what A is. A is for action and agenda. Create a concrete set of purposeful actions to take in the short term with phases for the long term. You use a timeline, and as you are closer to the present moment, there'll be more details. And as you get out further, there'll be a little less details because the more current actions will inform the later actions. So that's where you can have phases with actions inside to allow for different levels of granularity. Now, also connect those actions and steps with RACI plus F, and you want to make sure that you're reviewing the outcomes. Go back up, review the outcomes. Are there any action items up there that really should be down in your timeline? Bring those down. Now, one of the key things to keep in mind is that in your action planning, you want to be sure that it's public and it's transparent and people are making those public commitments to action. When people say, I will do this publicly, you're likely to get better results than if it's done behind the scenes or not made publicly. So now move into needs. Now let's define, what do you need in order to complete the actions and achieve the purpose and outcomes? What kinds of materials and tools? What staffing and personnel do you need? What policy and procedures need to be in place? What approvals and authority do you need to have? And then take all of that and determine a budget and the startup funding. And finally, pause and look at each other and say, what attitudes and behaviors do we need from each other in order to be successful? So major change initiatives will require multiple plans. One plan is not enough. You're going to have different levels you're engaging at, leadership, at mid-level, and out in the community and the areas where you're implementing. You're going to have a variety of different plans. And so one of the things that people often will say about plans is, in this Dilbert cartoon, we need a plan for making our plan. Then we need to plan the plan's planning thing. And then it can make you go crazy, right? Have you seen this guy? Sigh, there goes another employee of the month. So plans do occur in threes, and this is at the core competency for any collaborative change agent, leader, in any type of setting, recognizing that there are multiple plans and they typically occur in threes. So when creating your plans, create them in a collaborative sequence that becomes iterative. First, you got your steering team. This is the overseeing team. This is the team that is going to oversee the successful change initiative or project to completion. Well, then that team has to figure out how it's going to engage a broader set of stakeholders. You might call the change team. And this is to collectively work together over time to address the following challenge we face. So whatever that challenge might be, the purpose for the change initiative plan is really to collectively work together over time to address the following challenge we face. And then there's another plan. There's solutioning events. You're going to bring people together for a meeting, for a workshop, for some type of solutioning session. And you're going to bring them together for that 1 hour, 3 hours, 1 day, 2 days, whatever it might be. That particular event is also going to need its own plan. So as you begin to engage more and more stakeholder groups and bring people together, every one of those engagements requires its own little plan. So if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together.